Good day everyone, and welcome to today's video, and today is a review on the DO-335 A-0 Feel, also known as the A-0. Now the DO-335 A-0 is the dedicated fighter variant. Well, I say that, it is technically the pre-production aircraft if I remember rightly. Now you may notice I do have the 50mm MG151s on. I did not use those throughout the entire Spade, I got those last. Obviously you start off with two 20mm MG151 20mm, 400 rounds or 400 rounds in total, and you get a 30mm MK103 in the propeller hub. Very good lot of guns this is, and they are very, very useful at dealing with bombers. That's how I'm going to recommend to fly the DO-335 A-0. I scored very few fighter kills. Most of my kills in this aircraft were in against bombers and attackers. I'll be brutally honest. That's how I flew this thing. I flew it as an Interceptor, and it worked very well in doing so. But the DO-335 A-0, well, the DO-335 series in general, was a twin-engine push and pull piston-driven aircraft, which was designed to be one of Germany's Wunderwaffens, also known as a wonder weapon. And this aircraft was so fast in real life, a flight of, I believe, 3 or 4 Tempests tried to intercept one of these things, and this thing just pulled away. This thing just absolutely pulled away, and obviously the Tempest thought it was another jet. I believe it was a French pilot in the Tempest who was flying it backwards, so he can't really tell. But he said he thought it was a jet fighter, but no, it was an A-0. It was a DO-335. Not certain which model, but even so. So the aircraft itself, and before anyone puts in the comments about I forgot to show the stats of the G14, don't worry. I realised before I ended recording because I'm a twat. BF-19 G14, 37 air kills, 9 deaths, 59 ground targets, and 5 landing craft. Forgot to do that. Terribly sorry. And well, the stats in this thing weren't as good. I'll say that right now. But to be honest, most of my deaths were from bailing out to deny vultures, and well, you can see here, 37 air kills, so the same number of air kills as the G14, but 3 more deaths. Did get 1 less ground target, we didn't get any landing craft or anything like that. I flew this thing very differently. Obviously, if you get a fire on your tail, chances are you can outrun it, so just stick your nose down and run. However, there are going to be some aircraft that may catch you up, such as Tempests, F-82s, LF Mark 9 Spitfires, because apparently they could do that, as I mentioned in the G14 review. And yeah, Killer Tigger loves this aircraft. He loves it with passion. He has obviously spaded it. He is working on the A1 just like me. Not a fan of the A1, we'll say that right now, but it's getting better. It is getting better. But yeah, like I say, it's not doing too shabby. The A1's doing okay, the A0 did okay, so that's all that matters to me. There are a couple of drawbacks about this aircraft before, well, in fact, I'll do that as we go through the replay, because it is quite a long replay. First off, your yaw rate at high speeds is absolutely horrible. In fact, it's close to non-existent. Second, your elevators lock up above 400 miles an hour so much they might as well not be there half the time. Another thing, the roll rate is very good on the aircraft, but it can be questionable, and your tail control, if it gets shot out, you're going to have a hard time. Now, when I was actually spading this aircraft, I flew a couple of flights with Killer Tigger, who obviously has spaded this plane, and he was giving me advice. This is a 6.3 game, by the way, but I do get a decent result out of it. So, obviously, I start off by climbing, but whilst the climbing phase is going on, I'm going to blabber a bit about the aircraft and what kind of experience I had. Well, one game I had on air battle, it was France 1944. I actually crashed into the wreck of a B-17 that I didn't see till the last second, tried to dodge out of the way, sorry about that truck going past, and if you heard it of course. And I killed the P-47N. That was one of my very few fighter kills that I had in this thing. Most of them were attackers and bombers. And let's just say my tail control was completely gone. That was a weird glitch for that replay there, wasn't it? But Killer Tigger obviously watched me try to limp this thing back to base. I managed to keep it flying for about 12 to 15 minutes and I managed to land it. Repaired, Jade out because my team had died. Killer Tigger was very astonished that I actually managed to land this aircraft with only one flap and I was coming in at, I think he said 450 kilometers an hour or nearly 500, I can't remember. But he said I did very well to land this aircraft, say I was an inexperienced pilot with it. Well, I say inexperienced, I think I'm a pretty good DO-335 pilot now. But, yeah, this thing does take some pilot skill, I'll say that right now. So, A-0. What's different from the A-0 and the A-1? Well, obviously, in the A-1, you only get the 15mm cannons, and they suck. I'm going to say that right now, before I even do that with things review, because I've still got a long way to Spade it. It sucks in terms of its cannon armament. The 30mm's fine. No problem with the 30mm. 30mm's awesome. But not 15s. The 15s suck. But the A1 can also carry bombs. And that's really it. There's not really many differences. Obviously, due to that thing's weaker armament and the bomb carrying capability, which, in my opinion, would make it a higher tiered plane, but obviously the 15mm cannons suck, so sort of makes sense. Yeah. So, top speed for the aircraft. Never actually ripped the wings off it, but I've pushed it across 540 miles an hour before, and it got there just fine. Killer Tigger has never ripped the wings off this aircraft. I've never ripped the wings off it, and the fastest speed, as I said, was about 540. But once I was diving in on a Tempest to save him, and I was touching 530 at one point. Now you can see I've cranked back the throttles, and you're probably thinking as to why. The lockup. You'll see in a moment. Even with the engine zero, this thing gains speed like it's nobody's business. I crit the B-17G there, he hits me with a single 50 cal and damages my right wing, that's fine. But here you can see the elevator response is absolutely shocking. I actually I break a flap there trying to turn. Teammates are rushing in to try and steal this B-17, so I am going to have to try and secure the kill. No, don't worry, I secure it. First kill. We do take some engine damage, but that is perfectly fine. Now there's three of us diving in this 84 Sky Raider. I felt sorry for him. I was initially just going to break off and head to the airbase, but I thought, nah. I'll see if I can get a crack at him, and then he pulls this move. So I'm thinking, well, he's not crit, he's not on fire, he's fair game. Let's blow him out of the bloody sky. Second kill and final kill. Those are the only two kills I get in this whole 24-minute match. Nearly 25. So now let's head back to the airbase. The one thing about both DO-335A's models is they can load HVAP in their 30mm cannon. With 95mm of penetration, it is a very good aircraft for ground forces. I see a lot of B2s getting used in ground forces. If I was to recommend a variant to use for tank forces though, the A1 would probably be a better bet. And yes, you can land it like that. However, don't do it above 300 miles an hour. You will tear your wings off. But it is still pretty good in that regard. It can land like this. It can, well, Killer Tigger calls it a 262 landing. I don't blame him. But yeah, that was my final kill for the game in the actual terms of kills. But I know what most are thinking. Am I just going to leave it there? No, because this thing can actually do pretty well as a ground pounder, it turns out. I thought we had a server replay, a replay problem then, so I started to panic a bit. But yes, I've actually loaded HVAP, and I'm going to go for some pillboxes and things like that. So, team at the moment, doing pretty well. However, the enemy team is soon going to teach me a lesson in don't rely on your teammates, because this team nearly collapsed. But, hey-ho, that's Allied teams football, German teams for you. There goes that 288, obviously you get snare spawn, I do not. This thing is very slow on taking off. I was not far off Spade in this thing, I think it was about 4 mods short. Me and Killer Tigger flew a couple of flights and then we got it done. I left the 15mm modification till last. Don't put those cannons on, whatever you do. They suck. And I mean they suck. They are absolute dog shit cannons. They do next to no damage. In ground forces they might be useful, so maybe you might want to use it there, but I doubt it. Just let the 30mm do the work, is what I'd do. If I had 15s anyway for added pew pew, but even so. So obviously I put in the replay and the title of the video, roughly anyway, if I remember to do it. Effective fighter and ground pounder. It can ground pound, however, you only have 70 rounds of 30mm ammunition. They go by pretty quickly and a tank takes about 9 or 10 shots, so just bear that in mind. Pillboxes will take around about the same. Obviously light as shit, please do use the 20mm for that. Don't waste your 30s on... I think I wasted it on an SPG at one point in this game like I did. Don't bother, just use the 20s. The 20s, if you load air targets, can come with 25mm of penetration on a single round, which is very useful. Personally, I love more API in this belt, but even so. So now we're coming in, we are going to go for those SPGs just down here, and we're going to clean up quite a few. You can see here, I'm not even weaping, and yet we're doing 333 miles an hour. It is a very, very fast aircraft. You can see why the Tempest pilots thought it was a jet. It was just so fast for its time. So today you can see it pull lone SPG. I don't know why he was out here all on his own. One thing I will say is yeah, look, you can see I'm firing a couple of 30s off. I get a kill, but I've wasted quite a few 30mm rounds there. 30mm is very vulnerable to jamming when stock, so just bear that in mind. But the turn rate, not too bad. Obviously, you do lose a lot of speed in a turn, so just bear that in mind. And yeah, this plane can do pretty well in both roles, obviously. Interceptor, boom and zoom fighter, and ground pounding, obviously it can do, but I don't really recommend it in this model. You can do it if you've got the chance, but there's one of the weird characteristics of the plane. It does tend to roll like that sometimes. That poor SPG, which looks like a gorilla SPG. He is currently having a very bad day because he's been shot by multiple tanks. The thing is though, why are we shooting at German SPGs when I'm in a German plane? Gaijin, fix your shit. But hey, put him out of his misery. And that is the second, well, the fifth ground target kill. I don't know why I was going to say second kill then on the ground forces, because I've got second kill air kill wise. It's stuck in my head. But our team is, excuse me, slowly dying at the moment. Luckily though, we are not going to lose this game, thankfully. We get pretty lucky, let's just say that. So, 30 moment time against a pillbox. Let's see what it can do, eh? Yeah, the 30 mil does questionable damage against a pillbox. Sometimes it takes 10, sometimes it takes 15, sometimes it'll even take 20 rounds. And there you go, pillbox. Obviously, 20mm guns against the howitzers and the AA pieces, 30mm for the SPGs, medium tanks, and light pillboxes. Don't want to risk crashing there. The elevator authority can be questionable at best, so just don't take the risk if you don't have to. Still though, I do like the aircraft very much. It's just sometimes it does be a bit questionable with its guns. At high speed it can be very hard to get the guns on target. And in the A1 model, they're probably going to struggle a bit more, so, well, I'm probably going to struggle a bit more. Because obviously the weaker armament. I mean, the 30mm does a bloody job, but even so. There we go, another pillbox. Yeah, I bet you wondered, why is there good luck on the rear engine? Well, I put that there, so if some jammy sod turns in and looks at the aircraft in night zoom, they'll see good luck as I outrun them. That's the point of it. It is honestly one of the fastest piston-driven aircraft I've ever flown, and it is absolutely amazing. Now, I believe at this point, I am actually low on ammunition. And here you can see this freaking T-34 is just soaking up here, isn't he? You can tell it's a Russian AI tank. Let's just say that. But jokes aside, I am actually returning to base at this point. So let's skip ahead. Like I said, I have no quarrels about this aircraft other than its lock-up and the weird tendency to just be retarded in a freaking turn. The guns are very hard to get on target. It does lose a lot of speed in energy maneuvers. Personally, if you're going to try and dogfight with someone, dogfight with a Wyvern, because they'll lose just as much speed as you and you'll be able to beat them. But otherwise, don't turn, just run. I had a pretty funny match with Halofo in my A1 a couple of weeks ago, and he got to witness me basically pull away from the P-47N. Till, for some reason, he could catch me on the deck, which was just stupid. But no, it was P-47M, not an N. We eventually got into a little tussle, and the team came along and kicked his ass, so that was pretty nice. Yes, I am reloading at this point. We're obviously going to take off, and I'm going to skip ahead a bit more. We're approaching the point of where the vehicles will start to spawn in. That LF Mark 9 Spitfire, which is a Plague Spitfire, has just ripped the shit out of our B-17. J2M3 has just completely ruined his chances. It's the server it's the replay before anyone starts calling this guy a cheat. Just to let you know. You can see here, the J2M3 has just lost all of his energy. And now the Spitfire is able to get inside him. The J2M is going to die to the Spitfire, but the Spitfire is going to pancake doing it, which I thought was pretty hilarious. And well, as you can tell, the Spitfire isn't exactly a useful mammal. The B-17 is, well, having a bad day. The J2M is attempting to turn with a Spitfire, which is just suicide. Obviously, I'm over 10 miles away. I can't exactly help him. Why you would try and turn with a Spitfire in a J2M3, I do not know, but he is going to take some mean engine damage in a moment. Obviously, the replay shows the J2M not taking hits from the Spitfire, but he is taking hits from the Spitfire. Just want to make that clear. But the J2M3 at this point is actually going down. He just doesn't know it yet. Spitfire pancakes somehow in a turn, but the J2M is going to crash very shortly. Now, my original plan was to go back for those pillboxes, but I decided to go for the vehicles because they're easier for me to kill. So let's get right to it then. And there we go. Obviously the 20 mils will clean up a truck, and yet the 30 mil doesn't seem to. I fired multiple 20s and a 30 mil at that truck, and yet it didn't do anything. It's weird, but we was lucky to win this game, let's just say that. But we won it nonetheless. The thing is about the A-0 is that it has got the bomb bay modeled there. As you can see, the thing just in front of the intake is the bomb bay for a 500 kilogram bomb, and yet it can't carry it. It's very weird. There's another truck. There's another. There's one more truck in this group. What I should have done is I should have gone for all three groups of vehicles and just came back and sweep the last three up, but even so, I chose not to because I just wanted this game over and done with. Sorry about it, I was just checking my phone. But yeah, so we are getting close to the end of the battle. It's after, well, it's right now where it ends. For some reason, the ground forces just cleaned up the rest of the vehicles. I didn't get to do anything else, sadly, which was a shame. But we could have cleaned up some more trucks. But yeah. So not a bad plane, obviously. It is questionable in its performance in a turn, as we saw when we engaged that P-17G. But when you get a firepower on target, it just rips anything to pieces. And not only that, if someone gets on your tail, just put your nose down, just run. So I'll get to work spading the A0 or the A0 or the A1, I should say. I have got another spade on the works in the KI-109. Been working on that. That thing's a pile of junk, but gotta get it done. I've had it on the spading table for quite a while now. And well, it'll be the first time I beat DTT. Well, in fact, no, not the first time. It'll be another time I beat DTT to a spade, which is just going to be even better. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video on the DO-335 A-0. I'll get to work on the A1 as I said. Hope you enjoyed today's double whammy of spade impressions, and I will see you all on the next one.